welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jowy and I'm your fashion and style consultant. I'm all smiles today because I'm very excited actually. I'm having a guest on today. She's a colleague. She's also a fashion and style coach and I'm expecting to have a very great session with her. We're going to be talking fashion and style in relation to your confidence, how this can help boost your confidence. And I'm sure this is really going to be exciting. So stick around and enjoy.
Yes. Well, I want to say thank you for inviting me to be a part of this conversation, inviting me to your platform. Very excited for our conversation today. As you mentioned, my name is Nana Badu, and I am a style coach and speaker. And I focus on helping women of color really get into a moment where they feel like they can be bold and authentic with their style and stop hiding behind what they think is supposed to be acceptable within their relevant workspaces. So, really helping them channel into their own personal power, utilizing what they wear.
Great, great. Thank you so much, for the intro. So I think we should just get right into it.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
And I'm always talking about how your style is important. And on one of the episodes, actually, I mentioned how I've realized as a stylist and with my wealth of experience in this field, I've realized how some people reject fashion and style because they just think that it's meant for people like that are public figures, people that are in the public eye, and they're just like, oh well, I don't need that, because. But my style gospel, as I would always say, my style gospel is if you interact with people, you need to pay attention to your style. And I watched something that Tan France did, and he in fact he put it the right way. He was like, if you're not a nudist, you need to pay attention to your style. So that was so interesting. And people need to realize how the way you look tells a story about you.
Yeah. Yes.
It tells a story about you. If you look powerful, you feel powerful, you feel confident, and that's what I'm doing with this. That's how I'm trying to reach people, and for you who have been in the industry as well, I can imagine that you've had all sorts of clients, and could you share some of your experiences with us, how this has transformed things for people? Because there's nothing as good as people hearing it from one who has like experienced it, one who has gone through the furnace. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, no, it's so true, as you mentioned in that quote from Tan, we get dressed every day, right? We wear clothing every single day, right? Unless you lead a different lifestyle, which is far and few in between, right? You're going to be wearing clothes every single day. And I truly believe that your clothing and your style is just simply an extension of who you are. It is just really a branch off of the tree of who you are, how what you value, how you live, your personality traits, your goals, your beliefs. It's just an expression of that. It's a visual interpretation of that. And it's oftentimes, it's a great opportunity to invite people into conversation with you, invite people in to learn more about you. And it's a common statistic that it takes 7 seconds for us to form a first impression of someone, right? So upon meeting them, and we've all been on both sides of that, right? We've been on the receiving end of meeting someone and they're assessing us have after first meeting them, and then we've also been on the giving end, right, where we see someone and we make a judgment, right, or a series of assumptions about them within first meeting them. Like, so it's definitely an exchange.
Automatically, it's not even something you think about. It just
happens. Exactly, right? It's so automatic, and it's in that that snap of a finger, what is that person going to say about you, think about you, read about you? What are they going to glean from you? Just all based on visual, not even having opened up in your mouth yet, not having introduced and say what you do or who you are, none of that. So it's a really powerful moment. And for, a lot of the women that I'm really fortunate to work with, they are, a lot of women of color, and they are in different leadership positions at their job and their companies. And they really recognize that their confidence and their ability to feel worthy of being in those spaces is very much tied to their presentation as a whole. Right. And so that's a combination, as we say, like in the image industry, a combination of the ABCs: your appearance, your behavior, and your communications. So that style factor, just really permeates through all three. So when you really feel like, okay, when I enter this board meeting, when I enter this interview, right? When you really feel like you're in alignment with your capabilities and your talents, as well as how you are dressed, and how you're presenting yourself, when they're all working congruently, like that's when the magic happens. That's when people, it's a no-brainer, and they just say, oh, there was just something really amazing about her. I really loved how consistent she was, right? I really loved how confident she was. I loved her presence, right? That's when you get all of that other feedback, and that, I think, is sometimes the missing ingredient that people undermine when they think about style.
Yeah, sometimes these things happen and people can't even tell what it is exactly about this person that I like, what is it about her? But that's why I tell people, like, be intentional about the way you look, because if you stepped out there with intention, you dressed up with intention and you stepped out there and you get all those positive, feedback, what's going on.
Right.
It's almost like you cast a spell on them. And that's why, and I always tell people, I'm like, these things can change your life in ways that you have not put together. Like, you've never imagined that. The missing piece is way you look, your presentation, your intelligence, you know it all, like you're early to work, you do every other thing right, but your presentation is just wrong. It's just like there's a missing piece.
Yeah.
There's a missing piece from it all. So, like, as I said, it's really interesting to hear you say, you who has, had firsthand experience with your clients. I mean, for me, as I said, with Jowy's Fashion Consulting, I've done so much, and I've done work with people on TV as well, and it's funny because people who are playing a role in a movie or a series or whatever it is, you're just playing a role. Trust me, the way they look affects the way they even carry out that role when they're
absolutely.
So your looks, like, I can't say it enough. I can't say it enough how important looks are. But this session is very short, as you know. it's just, I just want people to be able to hear it from other experts.
Yeah.
And to know that it's a real life thing. Like, it's not, fashion is not vain. Fashion and style is not vain.
Yeah.
And it's not vain, it's important.
Yeah. And even to, your point that you raised earlier around that notion that I think is shifted a lot probably in the last 5 to 10 years, around the fact that a stylist or a style expert is something that is excluded to just those who are celebrities, right? Or those who are extremely wealthy. Like, that is something that they do, right? That is not something that is available to me if I am, an everyday working individual. And that's just, completely false, and just like, let's just demyth and debunk that entire philosophy right there. Right. I think it's one thing when you recognize that you have very explicit goals that you want to achieve. And, just like with any of us working in any kind of field or industry, right? We hopefully invest in different things that are going to help us to grow, right? And that growth might be professional, might be personal, but at the end of the day, you're trying to grow. So if you're looking to, achieve a promotion, or you're looking for a career change, or you are leaving your current job and entering entrepreneurship, there are certain things you're going to do to prepare yourself, right? You're going to get training, right? Maybe you're going to seek a higher level of education and go for a master's or a PhD, right? You're going to seek out mentors to help give you some guidance along the way, right? Maybe you're going to seek the help of a recruiter. Maybe your resume writing skills are not the best, right? You're going to be actively seeking out individuals to help position you for that success, right? And so I think it's something that perspective needs to be shifted, in that a stylist, a style expert is just another expert who has knowledge in a space that can help me advance professionally, that can help position me for success. They're just going to do it by taking a look at what's in your wardrobe, how you're showing up, how that's affecting your posture, your communication, right? Exactly. And really help put it together.
Posture. That's true. Your posture too. Yeah, and I'm happy you mentioned this. And so I will talk about, like, for we Nigerians, especially for Nigerians that are back in Nigeria, right? It's a bit different. And that's why for me, I kind of struggled when I came back from school, because for me, I didn't do fashion design. And that's what people know. It's like, I'm a fashion designer. Okay, then you're useful. We understand, but I'm a fashion stylist. I'm a fashion coach. They're still trying to figure it out, like, what do you do? They ask me that question a lot, like, what do you do? And I'm trying to, describe what I do. But I started, the way I could launch out my career was from TV, So I know that, in the West, things have changed in the last 5 to 10 years in terms of people accepting this more, like accepting that, okay, our looks really matter as well, and we need to invest in it. However, of course, back in Nigeria, I'm not sure that we're at that point yet. You understand? Yeah, I mean, I don't know that a lot of people, I'm sure that there are people, I've met a few people, of course, who are my clients, one-on-one clients, I've met a few, but I don't know that there's that much people that have realized how much this is important, And to be honest, that's the essence of my YouTube channel. That's because, of course, a lot of my audience are Nigerian, and so as I said, my style gospel is, guys, this thing is serious, like, it's important. You're here struggling and battling for this. Just change this and see how it makes a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you mentioned that, because my dream is that we get to that point someday, in Nigeria. We get to that point where people begin to see that, no, it's not for the public figures alone. You as an individual, you need it as well,
Yes,
so
that's so excellent.
Important. I'm happy you mentioned that. And my dream, honestly, is to get to that point where we begin to see it that way.
Yeah, no, it's an excellent point, and it does differ geographically, right? Like with so many things, it's not carte blanche, across the globe, that this is something that everybody understands or adopts or takes as something that they should be implementing in their day-to-day lives. My family is from Ghana. So I understand, 100%, and have within my own family members, as I've been in this, field and position, people be like, so what do you do? And I'm like, and I have to explain, and so I have been there as well, but having, I'm based in Brooklyn, New York. And so, you know, after that, you know, then it becomes like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, that's a New York thing, or, you know, that's the thing they do in America, right? Like there's that thing happening, right? So like that's real, you know, that's just plain. And that's, I think, just is a even like a byproduct of, you know, just what is top of mind as people are prioritizing what needs to happen in their life. But I think, as you mentioned, like, I think at the core of it, though, is you having an understanding that this does impact my ability to get opportunities. Like this impacts my ability to apply for a position. This impacts my ability to be chosen for an interview. You know, this impacts these things, right? You know, we are in a digital age. You know, people are using all kinds of different platforms, whether it's WhatsApp or maybe you're on LinkedIn, right? People can go through and look at your profile pictures. They can go on and, you know, and Google you and see what you've been doing, or ask a colleague, you know, and ask somebody who's in your circle as they're doing due diligence and saying, so tell me about so and so. You know, they came to me about a position, but, you know, I'm not sure about them, right? Tell me about them, about their demeanor. What do you want those people to say about you? You know, what's the recognition? What's the notoriety? You know, what's the calling card? You know, and so all of these elements around how you dress, it has a direct correlation to how you feel and then to how you act, right? And so it's just, I think, a big understanding that it matters. And whether or not, and I think it's also a thing that sometimes people don't always verbalize what matters, right? I think that's a big thing that you have to recognize. And it's sometimes it's unfortunate because you may not be selected for a position, or you may not be selected for the contract, or, you know, or to be a part of that next project that you were really hoping to lead, you know, or whatever the opportunity may have been. And sometimes you can sit there and wonder, like, well, why? You know, on paper, my resume is good. My accolades are there. I've gone to this institution. You know, I volunteer, right? You think you've checked all the boxes, right, of the things on paper that look good. If that is something that you're struggling with, I would definitely urge you to look at some of the more personal attributes that you have that may be missing, you know. And I think it goes around those ABCs: your appearance, your behavior, and your communication. I would assess what are my clothes? Are my clothes neat? Are they pressed? Right? Am I wearing pieces that exemplify an executive or a senior level professional, or, you know, or whatever position you may be going after, right? You know, have I practiced my communication styles? Do I understand how to have conversations with partners, with executives? You know, am I good at listening? You know, do I demonstrate nonverbal cues that allow people to know that I'm here and present? Like, it can't just be what's on paper. And I think that, you know, like, it's not enough. It's just not enough. It's not enough. You have
to have fact, though. It's a proven fact, not enough. You know, it's proven. It's proven. Yeah. Thank you so much, Na, for joining me on this session. I really appreciate. It was so much fun having you here. And I'm gonna have to round this up now. Thank you so much for everything you've contributed. But before we go, I want you to give me, like, you know, one last advice that you would give my audience towards their looks and your presentation, you know, in relation to confidence. Like, one last advice before we go.
Yeah, certainly. You know, I would urge folks to, I would say, do two things. I would say one is to define your style. I think it's very important to add words to the way that you want to be presented. So it can be as simple as saying, I want to have executive style. You know, I want to have posh style. I want to have dapper style. Whatever it is, I would
Like
ask
you're
you
trying
to
to
find.
communicate. Yeah.
I would ask you to define what that style is and just write that down. And then using that, I would say go into your closet and begin to assess what you have in your closet that is equal to what it is that you have defined, right? That really aligns. Because if you're saying you want to have a dapper style, but you have a lot of sweatpants, or you have, a lot of, your clothes are not tailored well, right?
Yeah.
That is not, that's not equating, right? As they say, the
Exactly.
math is not mathing, right?
Correct.
There's
Right.
something wrong there. So I would
Mhm.
ask you to do that assessment, and then from there you can begin to maybe invest in some pieces or some different outfit combinations that align with the style that you want to communicate.
Oh, thank you so much, Nana. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. And I'm sure we'll be having you again very soon, or we'll be seeing you again very soon. Thank you so much for all that you do. In fact, I commend you, of course,
Oh,
and thank you for joining me on this session. Have a
oh, it's been
wonderful day.
wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. Be well.
Okay, have a wonderful day. Bye bye. Wow, I hope this has been much fun for you as it has been for me. It was really great having Nana on set today with me. And as I always say, I want to be the pocket of light in someone's life out there today. I hope this information has been useful to you. And especially if you incorporate it in your lifestyle, you're sure to see changes like you've never imagined before. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you again next week.